Hey YouTube, today we're going to talk about Micron Technology, or ticker symbol MU. And the reason for that is because tomorrow they are going to be announcing earnings after hours. So today I want to highlight what I'm looking for, and if there is a play, how do I want to make it? So Micron Technology, they are involved in the semiconductor and semiconductor equipment world, and as you know, that is one that I am very familiar with, one that we on this channel play very often. Some of the leaders, the more flashier versions of the Micron, would be NVIDIA as well as AMD. I am also working on building a position in TSM, which is Taiwan Semiconductor Manufacturing. So there's a lot of moving parts to this industry. There's a lot of growth expectations, but as you can see even by the chart here, that they really have been trading sideways for the better part of this year. And where we've seen some explosive growth from some of the NVIDIAs, the AMDs of the world, and even TSM, as you can see, MU has not been able to really eclipse their previous high point, and they've been trading sideways. They did have a good earnings report back in June, and you can see that here that there was the advantage of them going higher at that point in time. However, they haven't really been able to have a breakout again. So the expectations on them for tomorrow are really going to be dependent on what are they doing on going forward, what is their expectations for the rest of the year. Now, what we'll take a look at after we kind of walk through the company is I do want to highlight that a lot of the market is up today. So the fact that we see that they're up another 58 cents today, and you can see post-market up even higher. This is all largely representative of the market as a whole. The NASDAQ is up a lot today, and the semiconductors are doing very well. To be transparent, I do have call options on AMD that expire at the end of this week. I also have a call option on NVIDIA that expires at the end of this week. I am looking to sell or close those into a debit spread, or if you're a trading fraternity watcher, a ghetto spread tomorrow if those show value. The reason for that is because I think there is going to be positive expectations surrounding Micron as well as the industry in general, and we may see a run up tomorrow, but I don't know what the actual earnings are going to be. So what I'm looking to do tomorrow is really sell premium. So one of the things that we can look at from a valuation perspective based on Micron is that in terms of where they are in the overall industry, they're actually a pretty good value play. And you have to remember that this is a large cap company, which means that they are a large company and they aren't necessarily targeting just rampant growth, but there is the capability to get them at a discount compared to some of the high flyers like an AMD, like an NVIDIA. And you can see that here where we've got the industry average on the price to earnings, and they're lower than that, and then especially the price to sales. I do want to highlight that when we're looking at some of these different metrics that you see here on the screen, it's important to note that this is largely going to be driven by expectations about the future, particularly in this industry. In comparison, when we look at some of the profitability, you can see that MU is actually a lot lower than the industry average, where when we're looking at the growth rate, or not the growth rate, but rather the gross profit margin for NVIDIA, it was closer to 60%, a lot closer to that industry average. So they're not making as much money, and this is one of the reasons that they are not necessarily growing from a stock value perspective. And that can be reflected here, where again, this is not what you want to see, is to be below the industry average. In fact, for EPS growth, it's actually declining. So we want to see all of these metrics going up, and if we see this tomorrow, then that's going to be very beneficial. One thing that I would highlight from a balance sheet perspective is when we last looked at a stock like this, we were looking at the capability that Microsoft had to be able to go out and buy other companies. And what you can see here is that MU doesn't necessarily have that same capability. From a year ago today, they had $7 billion on hand, but we have yet to see that being deployed in a way that we can see active growth or even dividend buybacks. I'd like to see some additional dividend buybacks or stock buybacks so that the stock can continue to grow. All that being said, There is the expectation that this stock can continue to move. There is a growth play here, but personally, I just prefer other semiconductor stocks. I mean, when we even look at the industry as a whole, you can see that there's a lot going on here. And out of all the options that are available in here, there's just a lot better picks. Chief among them would be, in my opinion, would be AMD, which you can see right here, as well as Intel, I think is a better option. They're down here somewhere. But again, I'm always going to really stick with TSM and NVIDIA are the ones that I go after. So that being said, let's hop over to Thinkorswim and see what our options are. So again, just to highlight the value that we have here, you can see that this is the year-to-date chart again, kind of blown up on the screen. I am going to be looking at the daily volume. Again, just to highlight the moves that were made today, you can see that, again, steep drop off, which we've been seeing for these stocks, and before kind of holding flat before riding the momentum up. The good news is some of this upward momentum came after hours. So what I'm looking to do here is one of the plays I looked at is October 30th and then a $60 call. So, or rather a $56 call. And what I'm looking at doing here, as you can see, the price is currently listed at $88. I would sell that option. And then what I'm looking to do on the other side of that is to purchase the call option at 57, locking in the credit spread. So you can see that this provides me the option to get $26 from that transaction. This is probably going to change tomorrow depending on what's moving here. But what this spread does is I have to put up $100 of collateral, and I'm betting that $100 so that I can get $26. So that's a locked in 26% return. However, what I'm doing is putting this at risk where I can lose up to $74. So for this risk reward, I'm very comfortable for this type of play. And the reason for that is you can see that my stock price where I start losing is $56.24. Now, depending on how earnings go, if the stock goes down, then I could be in this range where I can even just lock in the profits right away and buy it back, depending on how big the move. But even a small percent move upward is not necessarily a bad thing. So what I mean by that is, as you can see on the stock right here, we've been kind of trading sideways for the better part of the past 2 days. However, if I look at the past 6 months, you can see at no point in time during that time period have we eclipsed $56. So I think this is a safe bet. It's not going to make you a millionaire by getting $26 right here. But again, this is something that I could even put 5 moves up here, put $500 of collateral, and now you can see that I've got $130 that I'm making here, and I'm at risk $370. So it's all proportional, but there is some value here. That's the play I'm looking at, but I'm largely going to be looking to make this type of play right before earnings. So be watching that, watch for the run up. In the meantime, as you can see, we had a good day. The stock price that we are going after, or the moves that we are going after, is this NVIDIA play that you can see here with the stock currently going up after hours, which we are hopeful that that trend continues. And then AMD is in the same boat, again, going up after hours. So it's not that I don't have a lot of faith in MU. I just know that they're not the big mover and they've kind of been stuck here for a while. So I'd like to see that position continue to, or I'd like to see a breakout, and we may see that tomorrow. So all of this is just a recommendation, or rather, this is not a recommendation. I am not a financial advisor. I'm just looking at a potential play and showing what I'm using to analyze that, as well as the company's underlying information. So hopefully this has been helpful. If so, please drop a like. And if you want to stick around for more information, please subscribe. Thanks, everyone. Talk to you later.